Hi, I'm Rakesh. I'm autistic.
And I'm Hitha and his wife. I have ADHD.
I'm the CTO of my own company called Q Centers. I co-founded it with my partners 15 years back. I work in the areas of AI and blockchain, and I do my work remotely.
And I'm a media producer. I have worked primarily in the television industry. For the last few years, I have been self-employed, working only on freelance projects. And this is because I have figured out this is the only way in which I can manage our different needs as a family.
We were both diagnosed as adults. In fact, after our marriage, and the diagnosis has had a lot of positive impacts in our lives. Ever since our diagnosis, we have been on a journey of understanding our neurodivergence better, finding ways to cope and accommodate our needs and advocate for ourselves.
Diagnosis actually feels like all this while we were living in a place that did not understand our language, and all of a sudden when we see all these neurodivergent people and communicate with them, we realize that okay, the language that was running in our head for all this time is not gibberish, it is a legitimate language. One question we keep getting in the neurodivergent spaces is how we manage our relationship as two NDs. And in these spaces, we see a lot of individuals, especially autistics, who are getting deeply affected by their difficulties in relationships to the extent of affecting their self-worth and their ability to be in relationships. So from our point of view, these are completely capable, talented, beautiful individuals, empathetic individuals who hold beautiful relationships, friendships with us, and they are doubting their ability to be in relationships. So that is one topic we would like to talk about how neurodivergent relationships can be different from the normal relationship paradigms we see around us, and how that is okay, and how that could be fulfilling for the people who are involved.
So, to give a context regarding our relationship, we have known each other since our school days and have been best friends since our early 20s. We both had our fair share of failed friendships and relationships through which we kept supporting each other. Eventually, we fell in love and got married in our early 30s.
We'll start with what actually works in our favor in our relationship. So, for a major part of our lives and our relationship, actually, we did not know about our neurodivergence, but then I strongly believe that our neurodivergence and the differences and similarities because of the neurodivergence is a strong unifying factor in our relationship. Because it makes empathizing with each other's struggles, goals, and each other's needs all that easier. Honestly speaking, it has always been hard for both of us to identify with the goals and priorities of our neurotypical peers, but then that has never been a problem for us, or a problem with other neurodivergent friends.
We have a lot of mutual interests in a wide variety of subjects, so we never run out of topics to discuss, and it helps in motivating each other and supporting each other's careers.
For instance, I learned computer science in college, and it was Rakesh who actually made me see that there is art and beauty in programming. So even though I don't work in that space anymore today, I can actually relate to the highs and lows and the internal mechanics of his workspace, and that makes me able to be appreciative and supportive of his work. And on the other hand, Rakesh is someone who has always been interested in photography and movies and all that, but then ever since we started being friends and more so after our marriage, he started learning these subjects with so much passion and started pursuing these subjects so deeply that nowadays he takes the visuals for my work, and his work is absolutely amazing. He gives me beautiful visuals whenever I'm in need. So yeah, learning and evolving together, so that has been a constant in our relationship, and that gives us this added activity of parallel play that goes keeps happening in our relationship. So for anyone who doesn't know what parallel play is, it is just two people being in the same room working on their individual projects, probably ignoring each other for hours on end. We used to do that always in our relationship, and we did not know it had a name or it was a chosen activity for neurodivergence. But then that is something we enjoy very deeply, and that happens for hours every day in this home. And we love doing this because it keeps our inner individual lives nourished and full, while at the same time being together is calming for us.
We also happen to have a lot of similar principles, individual goals, and ideas about life we want for ourselves. We both believe in the power of cooperation over competition. So a lot of large picture factors were automatically aligned for both of us since the beginning of our friendship. We attribute all of that to neurodivergence.
So, does our neurodivergence affect our relationship? Of course, yes. Our personal ND struggles, it does affect our relationship as well as our individual mental health. And what makes things even worse is that the mental health practitioners we go to for support, they don't know how to help us.
Neurodivergent needs in a relationship are different. The way we express our emotions are different. The way we love is different. Our pain points of everyday existence are completely alien to neurotypical minds.
Neurodivergent people especially tend to have extremely different worldviews, life principles and all that, which they cannot help but adhere to. And I believe that they deserve to be understood about that than being forced to live a life they are not comfortable with. So communication is one pain point in the relationship, because even though we do speak the same language, but unfortunately spoken language itself, especially spontaneous spoken language, does not come easily to either of us. And especially when we are overwhelmed.
Through the years, we have come to the realization that most of our problem resolutions have come through written word communication. And eventually we understood that we are both not great with spontaneous verbal communication. And now when we have a complex issue to resolve, we do that over a chat platform like WhatsApp or Telegram. This might seem silly and ineffective and tedious to neurotypicals, but this is one accommodation that regularly saves us a lot of emotional pain and confusion. And individually as well, we have been navigating more towards written modes of communication for self-expression. I wish therapy happened in writing as well.
Regarding neurodivergence, what I feel is that there is always more to them than what meets the eye. There might be more that it's being left unsaid that is very important, and especially in the case of autistics. It is an art to befriend them, to coerce the details out of them without overwhelming them. And that is a major part of what I do for Rakesh in this relationship. For example, due to his alexithymia, he almost always doesn't know what is going on in his inner world, his feelings, emotions, sometimes even his pain. So all that shows on the outside is like subtle signs that go on for a while and then eventually leading to a meltdown. So my job in the relationship in supporting him is to gently nudge him every now and then with relevant questions, appropriate questions, uh, and understand what is going on in his inner world and then reflecting it back to him. And also, Rakesh needs assistance with a lot of very basic things like regulating his heart rate, his emotions and feelings, his bodily sensations, sleep, pain, and all that. So, co regulation is something we came across only recently, and now we are trying to understand how to do that more effectively. To explain that with an example, he has extreme heart rate variability issues. So every time his heart rate races abnormally, we used to feel helpless, and but recently we figured out that a simple firm touch on his chest can help him get his heart rate back to normal in a while. And or we have tried a lot of other things. No amount of meditation or therapy or self-regulation works for this, but co-regulation actually does. So what I'm trying to say here is that there is a lot that a supportive partner can do for a neurodivergent person. But the real challenge there is the amount of time and effort it takes to understand these differences and come up with solutions. And these needs also vary widely between neurodivergents, and what works for one might not work for another.
Understanding each other's trigger points and learning to avoid them is something we have been doing for each other. Another set of challenges is altering our daily life and routine to support our different contradictory needs. For example, she needs bright lights for stimulation, but while it overwhelms me. So when we are in the same room together, we have to employ specific lighting techniques like reflecting light off the wall and something like that to ensure that we both attain the right amount of stimulation.
In case of issues we haven't found solutions for, we both have shown the willingness to accommodate according to the gravity of the need.
Therapy has helped us both individually at different points in our life, but regarding relationship support, it has been highly lacking. Applying neurotypical theories to support neurodivergent relationships only kept us feeling more alien and unfit for a relationship. The rigid boundaries and methods associated with therapy seldom suit neurodivergent thought patterns. I really wish there were more neurodivergent therapists in the world, but we haven't yet found a therapist who understands the nuances of neurodivergent thought patterns so far.
Honestly, every ounce of progress that we have made in our relationship came with a lot of emotional and intellectual work, like suspending our careers for months on end, diving deep into researching each and every problem we are encountering in the relationship. But through all these pitfalls, what kept us going is that a deep intuition, a deep knowledge that the other person is not coming from a wrong or a selfish place or a toxic place. So most often the neurodivergent meltdowns, emotional breakdowns, emotional dysregulation, burnouts, all of this can be confused for a toxic behavior. So being able to differentiate between a helpless cry for support and manipulative cry for attention. That is a skill that is really necessary to be able to identify and support neurodivergent people, and that is something I have seen each of our therapists struggling with. Trusting each other's intuitions and words. So that is another area where we struggle in the relationship, because regarding each other's internal experiences, sometimes we might not be able to relate to the other person's internal experiences, what they are going through. But through our experience, we have learned that it is always better to trust the other person completely, and to take their words with utmost seriousness, even when it doesn't make sense to us. So that actually saves a lot of trouble. And another thing is Rakesh has this strange ability of detecting patterns and making predictions that might seem so far-fetched that it feels silly to completely believe that it is going to be true. But from my personal experience, most of his predictions do come true eventually. So in many such situations, we have to go beyond our personal instinct and trust the other person's words to accommodate them effectively. Doing that is not easy. It's a learning process.
Neurodivergence does come with a lot of misery attached to it, starting with health issues, being denied what you rightfully deserve, the meltdowns, the emotional dysregulation, etc.
So to watch your partner go through that helplessness and not being able to do much to help there, that is actually very painful. But if we allow ourselves to be carried away or to be engulfed by those emotions, then it reduces our ability to be supportive in their misery. And that adds to the existing problem. So finding peace with your partner's misery, letting them experience it without trying to control it completely, and still being supportive, that is actually the hardest part of the relationship.
So, in conclusion, in any relationship, be it neurodivergent or neurotypical, the partners need to be each other's biggest cheerleader as well as their most honest critics. And I don't think neurodivergence is a roadblock for that.
Yeah, actually, neurodivergence may excel at that. And apart from that, there is not much material to refer to regarding neurodivergent relationships. There are no human beings around us who have a clue about what could be helpful. So it feels like venturing out into an uncharted territory, but yet we consider ourselves lucky and privileged to have each other in our journey. Also, every neurodivergent relationship is actually unique, be it involving a single neurodivergent or both. And so it will be an ongoing process for the couple to actively keep working on their pain points on a regular basis. And it would also be great if you could have a supportive mediator, a professional or a family member or a friend to offer mediatorship when things escalate.
It might sound like a lot of work, but us NDs are not new to the process of putting in constant work into ourselves. And if the second person is not willing to put in the same work, maybe they are not meant for each other. But if they are ready to put in the work, I can assure you, we ND folks are totally worth that effort.